Juan Davis, Chief Creative Officer at KCT and PBS SoCal, and I'm joined by the newsroom of KPCC and LAist on a daily reporter roundup. How is everyone?
Hi, Juan.
Good. Great.
Mike Kessler, you're taking over for Adrian Hill today. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Stores and restaurants might be reopening, but the COVID-19 pandemic is not going anywhere. Emily, you've been following how the outbreak is affecting those incarcerated in state prisons, correct?
Yes. So 2 months ago, there were fewer than 100 cases of COVID-19 among state prison inmates. Now there have been more than 3,000 cases, mostly spread out among 6 prisons. The men's prison in Chino, for example, currently has more than 500 cases. Now, the state says some of that has to do with expanded testing. 14 inmates have died. 13 inmates were in Chino. The first female inmate died on Tuesday. She had been at the women's prison in Corona, which now has around 100 cases of the virus. 5 prisons are now actually conducting mandatory testing of staff, including the prisons in Chino and Corona, where inmates have died.
We've been working for a while on a crowdsourced project about race in Los Angeles, and that launches tomorrow. Leslie has been heading that up.
Yeah, so the idea of this project is to get people from all over LA to talk about their experience, about how race and ethnicity shapes our lives. So we put a call out last week on LAist, and now I'm working with people who've responded to put their thoughts into writing, and the first essay from a reader goes up tomorrow. And as you can imagine, we've been getting lots of responses, especially right now. But this is actually a project that's been in development for some time, and it took root last year after this really tough conversation that we had after the El Paso shooting, as you recall, where the ethnicity of the Latino victims really became the deciding factor in their being targeted. And we all began sharing these personal stories about how race and ethnicity have shaped our lives for us. So the idea for this crowdsourced project was born, and I can't imagine a better time to be launching it than now.
The issue of affirmative action could be going before California voters this fall, and Josie Wong has been covering that.
Yes, the Assembly passed Constitutional Amendment 5 yesterday, which would ask voters to restore affirmative action at state universities and government agencies. Californians had actually banned affirmative action from those places by passing Prop 209, which was 24 years ago. Passing ACA 5 would repeal Prop 209. There was an effort to bring back affirmative action to California universities in 2014, but it could not advance, in large part due to outcry from some immigrant parents. Some of those same voices are back. They're now fighting ACA 5, but they're proving to be no match for the different coalitions that have built up over the years to bring back the consideration of race and gender. ACA 5 also gained urgency since the police killing of George Floyd ignited this whole national discussion about systemic racism.
We all know about the lack of affordable housing here in California, and that has led to a surge in demand for public housing. Aaron's been following that story.
May 2020 saw the highest number in a decade, 1,700 applications to live in public housing in Los Angeles. This comes, of course, as we're in the middle of a pandemic that has cost many people their jobs. But 2020 had really high numbers of people applying to public housing even before the coronavirus. We were and are in a housing crisis in this city. And the reality is that we don't have much public housing, just 6,900 units in the city of LA. If you qualify, you go on a wait list that has more than 60,000 names on it already. Just for context, even smaller cities in the Midwest and the East Coast have more public housing than we do. I spoke to an administrator with the Housing Authority for the City of Los Angeles, and she said the demand is there. There's just not enough public housing to meet it.
Leslie, I'm curious, you started thinking about this crowdsourcing project because of the murder in El Paso. Is this a nationwide project, or is it just specific about LA?
We're really focusing on LA. I mean, the connection to El Paso is, of course, it prompted this very introspective conversation in the newsroom where we began talking about the way that we're perceived and that our race and ethnicity shapes our lives in many ways. So we want to expand these conversations that we're having to the broader community and let people from throughout LA tell their stories as well.
Well, thank you all at the KPCC and LAist newsroom, and thank you for tuning in. Take care of your health, take care of your family, take care of your neighbor, and we will see you tomorrow.